Hello, today we're going to make Mongolian lamb soup with some ribs and three common vegetables that Mongolian eat, which is cabbage, potato, and carrot. In winter time, it gets very cold, anywhere between -4 to -40 Fahrenheit cold. So this is what we survive on in winter time. It's nice hot soup. Look at that. It's very simple, and I will show you how to make this today. It always brings up that childhood memory. So delightful. Let's try some pasta. Let's get started. I included the recipe in the description below. So here I am preparing the noodle, homemade noodle. This is pretty much something very simple and also super simple for me to make it. You know what, when I start making this food, the whole lamb vegetable soup food with this noodle, I thought about, okay, let's go ahead and do it. It's pretty easy. But then when I start making it, try to show you how to make it, I realized, oh my goodness, this is not very easy if someone has never done such a thing before. So for that reason, I decided to have separate video, because just on this video, it's not going to have enough time to explain all this. Make sure you watch the next video. If you really want to learn how to make homemade noodles, please make sure subscribe so you don't want to miss that video, because this is such a good skill you can learn and then you can carry on for the rest of your life. Okay? So since this is the hardest part of this food, I like to prepare the noodles first. So while this is being cooked, steamed, then I prepare my other things for it. Okay, so this is a lamb spare ribs, also called Denver ribs. Now let me talk about this cut, because I think a lot of people walk right past it at the butcher without knowing what they have. This is a lamb breast. It runs along the lower chest area of the lamb, and it naturally contains 7 to 9 ribs, one whole lamb breast. You notice it's relatively flat and wide, with a thin layer of fat on top and darker red meat underneath. Each rib gets a little shorter as you move towards the belly, and so some pieces will have more meat than others. That's completely normal. This is honestly one of the most underrated and overcooked cuts you can buy. Most people do not know what to do with it, but for soup, it's absolutely perfect. Here's why this cut is loaded with cartilage, connective tissue, and bone, and that means when you slow simmer it, it releases an enormous amount of collagen and gelatin into your broth. That's exactly what we want. I buy lamb leg from Costco, and I'm using 2 pounds of it today. The rest I put into the Ziploc bag and then freeze it, so I can use it for another meal next time. Now, for this video, I kind of put bones and meat all together into the water. But if you really want to get real benefit of the bone from this soup, I would highly recommend that you put the bone into the cold water and let it simmer 1 to 2 hours. So that way you can get all the collagen, all the minerals from this bone, all the gelatin. Now you see, the noodle is ready. It looks beautiful. We're going to put it on nice clean cutting board, and we're going to let it cool down. It smells wonderful. Look at that color. Once it cools down, later on we're going to chop the noodle. Now you see I'm putting all the meats and bones together. But it still makes beautiful soup. Don't get me wrong. Either way is fine, but like I was mentioning, cook your bone first, you get all the benefit. I start by simmering the lamb in 2.5 liters of water. Back home in Mongolia, honestly, all you need was some salt. But the lamb there is so incredibly flavorful, because the sheep roam freely and eat nothing but natural wild grass their whole lives. purely grass-fed. The meat speaks for itself. But here, to get same depth of flavor, I add a little more seasoning and it still makes a beautiful rich broth. Total protein for the whole pot is 294 grams of protein. Per serving, it contains about 24 to 25 grams of protein. Total calorie for the whole pot is 5,500 calories, but per serving, you're going to have 460 calories, including eating the noodle. So once the meat is nice and tender, I add all the other vegetables, including onion, carrot, cabbage, and potato. In Mongolia, winter, there's no joke, especially for nomadic people. Temperature drops to 40, even 45 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. But these vegetables, cabbage, potato, carrot, they last through the cold, and the lamb was always there. Summertime was a completely different story. It only gets to about 65 degrees Fahrenheit at its warmest. And without the refrigeration back then in countryside, nomadic people did not eat much meat in summertime at all. Instead, everything was dairy, fresh milk, curdled milk, yogurt, and etc. I intentionally put only half of the onion at this time, and then I just leave half to add it later on, just before I remove the whole soup from the stove. I hope you try it. My husband and all my guests, friends, and families absolutely loves this soup, and I think you will too. Now the noodle is cooled down, so we're going to just slice it into strips like a noodle. And just let it toss into the air so it can separate from each other. Since we put some oil before we're rolling it, it's not going to stick to each other. Here's how Mongolians traditionally serve this. The soup goes into your bowl. The cooked noodles served separately on the side. Then everyone just picks up the noodles and adds them into their own bowl of soup. Simple, communal, and satisfying. But that's not the only way to enjoy it. You can also just eat the soup on its own with a piece of bread. Crusty bread soaks up the broth beautifully, or serve it with steamed buns on the side. And if you really want to make it full Mongolian meal, add some bunch. Bunch are Mongolian small petite dumplings. They are filled with seasoned meat and either steamed or boiled. You drop them right into your soup and bowl and boil until it's done. It's so good. Honestly, however, if you serve it with noodles, bread, steamed buns, or bunch, this soup is a complete meal, warming, filling, and full of flavor. So delightful. Let's try some pasta. Nice and chewy. Texture's perfect.
What are you talking about?
Cut that part.